Hello, everyone, and we're going live with day 4 of our series of workshops, practical workshops for educators. And today I have Christine with me. So she will be talking to you about her experience and about digital learning resources, and hopefully you will get also some valuable information today. So hi, Christine.
Hi, nice to see you again.
Great. So I will leave it to you to do the short introduction and to lead your workshop. If there are any questions, we'll discuss that after you've finished. And if there are any questions, I'll be with you in the room as well. Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great.
All right, so my name is Christine Danhoff. I'm the Tech Integration Specialist at Genoa Area Local Schools in Genoa, Ohio. And today we're all working through this time of what we call remote learning and finding ways to get our students engaged and interacting with us at home as we work through this. So today I'm going to share with you, and we're going to talk about engagement and beyond. So we're going to look at some tools and resources that you can use K-12 in order to get your students excited, connected with you, and find a way that you can interact even though we're not in person. So the link to the presentation that I'm going to share with you today is up here at the top. It's bit.ly / all lowercase engage student, and that way you can access these resources later on because there are many things in there that are clickable that you can check out after today's presentation. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you're doing in your districts. And if you'd like to connect, my Twitter handle is there, as well as my email and website. And it's such a good thing when educators are coming together right now to share what their schools are doing or what their districts are doing so we can best help each other. And that's my hope today, is that I can help some of you out there find some tools that are free, that are fairly easy to get set up if you haven't used them already, to be able to interact and see your students. So we're going to take a look at 4 different resources today. And it's going to be kind of at a faster pace, but make sure that you'll understand them and how you can use it with your students while they're at home. So the first one we're going to look at is called Flipgrid. And then after that, we'll take a look at Edpuzzle, Pear Deck, and Seesaw. So looking at Flipgrid, if you have not heard of Flipgrid before, it is a great video platform where students and yourself can record videos of yourself at any time and be able to view those videos all in one place, which they call a grid. Why is this so important for engagement? Well, one, it lets students pick and choose what they want to say and share with the group, which I feel is so important. Giving your students that time to share, especially during this time where there's a lot of uncertainty. So many kids will feel comfort in sharing, what they're doing at home or how they feel about these situations. And Flipgrid is perfect for that. It doesn't require you to be working together in live time. And I'm going to show you what some examples look like there. So this is an example of what a Flipgrid would look like. And these are some students that were just recording a part of their favorite book. And you can set up the topic or the response of anything that you would want. And I'll click on this so you can kind of hear what a student response would look like. So they clicked on the green plus sign, and then from there, the student was just reading about a page out of their favorite book. And so from there, you'll see that here are all those students. So all the kids are doing actually, and these were kindergartners, so that's why I said it could be K-12 to adult. Click the green plus sign, they start their video, record it, and then they click submit, and it goes onto this grid. And you can see their smiling faces, and especially during this time where the kids are not able to see their classmates, being able to listen to each other share is so vital and important. You can see that it can be used on multiple platforms. So there's a lot of different ways that you can allow parents and kids to access that while they're at home. So how do you set something like this up for your students? Well, the first thing is to go to flipgrid.com, and then from there, you're going to set up a free education account. And once you get your account set up, the first step is creating a grid. And I like to explain the grid to my teachers and educators that it's kind of like a web page, a main housing place for that topic or your different periods of classes, or however you want that to look. And then from there, after you set up your grid, you're going to start to add your topics. Now you'll see over here to the right, all of these different tools that you can use to integrate into your topic and your grid that you're sharing with your students. You could see Minecraft is one of them, Nearpod is on there, and you'll see all the different resources that are available through there. And then once you add your topic, you're going to share that topic either through Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, Remind, a link, a QR code, share it to your students, and then they'll be able to see the grid and be able to click that plus sign to add their response. And you can see you can turn on the option for them to add stickers and draw and do some other things to make it something fun for them as well. So I'm going to jump over here so you can actually see what it would look like once you are getting set up. So I have my grids, and if I want to add a new grid, I can. And you can see you can have as many grids as you want. You could have different ones for every class subject, however that will look. And then once you have your grid created, I'm going to go into this one here, I can add a new topic. So you can see some of my topics where, we were talking about short vowels, we were celebrating Pi Day, addition, subtraction, whatever your topic is. And when you click that, you'll enter in your title. But this is the awesome part of Flipgrid. They just upgraded this, I believe, today, where you can have your students record. You set the time limit from give them 15 seconds to share all the way up to today now 10 minutes. So you could have students reading to you, you could have them sharing things that they're doing at home, whatever you want that to look like. And then I give my prompt to my students, what I want them to share about. And here are those resources that you saw. So there was a lot of different things I could do. I could record a video of myself giving the students directions. And then when I click more options, these are tips that you may want to have as the educator, is making sure, do you want them to see each other's videos at first, or do you want to be able to moderate them? If you want them to be hidden until you release them, you'll turn that on. Do you want the students to reply to each other? Well, for engagement during this time, I would definitely say yes. It's a great way for them to keep that interaction going. And then you have your other features down here that you can set up for your students. And then when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and click Create Topic, and it will put that topic on your grid. So let me back up a step here so that way you can see. And when I go into that topic, so let's go into this one here, I'll see my topic, and then I'll see this rocket. And when I click that share rocket, here are all those different ways I could share it out to my students. You can even give them a QR code, which will ask them to download the Flipgrid app if they're using a mobile device. And then can you do guest mode? That's a great way to allow other people, such as family members, mom and dad, grandmas and grandpas, to be able to access the topic to see what they're doing. So fairly easy to use, a great resource, but they have more than that. They have what they call a disco library. And I love this because if you are looking for ideas of how to make learning engaging and fun for your students, maybe you want to have them check out Breakout today. And you find some digital games here, and I say, yeah, I want my kids to do this topic. You can pull from the Disco library of already created activities, choose which grid to put it on, and say add, and then you can share it to your students that way. And they've got all the setup here as well. I want to add one last thing about Flipgrid. For your students that are younger or are not able to read all the directions yet, it has built in an immersive reader. So that is fabulous. So that way they know what is expected of them in that recording. So just some really neat ways that you can use Flipgrid with your kids. And then here is an educator's guide. You can click on all these things if you have the link to this presentation, tips for those that are camera shy and such too. Those are just resources for you to use. All right, we're going to jump into our next one now. Taking video to a different level this time is a resource called Edpuzzle. So for this one, you can decide that if you want to have students answer questions on videos that they're watching. So we know kids are loving YouTube and finding ways to learn new things. So this is a great resource to get them started with that at home. And if you're joining us today in the presentation, you can actually click here and join my class to see what it looks like as a student, because I think that's so important as educators. Is we see the teacher end, but what do our kids see? So go ahead and click there if you're joining us, and you can be a part of it. But here's what Edpuzzle will look like. So you have a library of resources once you sign up. Once again, it's a free account. And from there, I have teachers in my school district that come up here, and we can have those content that is tied in there. We're all in the same school. We can see what the computers are doing, math, general ed, and so forth. But I also have all this other content that is available to me. YouTube videos, Khan Academy, National Geographic, and such. So I can go through there and find other resources as needed. So what I do is I find a video, and you can upload your own videos. So you can have a screen recording that you've done for your students and then add questions to it. So I'm going to upload or find a video to use for my assignment. And then from there, you're going to insert some questions about what you want your students to learn or review from that video. And your options that you can add for those questions are open-ended questions, multiple choice, or notes. So when I go in here, let's say I'm going to search for multiplication today, and I know my students are reviewing that, I'll see a bunch of different things come up here. So there's all kinds of resources, the Edpuzzle resources, the YouTube ones, and I can say see more, and there's a ton of them. So once I go through, or I could find my own link as well if I would like. So let's check out this one here. So it's a minute, looks good. And I look at it, and this one I see does not have any questions in it. So I'm going to back up a step, and I'm going to back up another step here. So this one tells me that it has 2 questions built in. This one has 3. This one has 23 questions built in. So there's a lot of different options to pick from. So if I decide, I've watched this one and I want to edit it, I'm going to click this little checkbox. I can edit it directly, or I can make my own copy. So I'm going to make my own copy. I'm going to go into my content now, and here I see that video. So I'm going to go into it, and here, wherever you see these little kind of teardrop looking icons, that's where the questions are placed, and I can click on them, and it will show me off to the side what the question is that that person had put in. Now, if I decide that I want to change that at all, I can go back and say edit this, and I see that this video has been shortened, and I can cut and make it shorter. I can add my own voice over the video to be teaching my students if they're comfortable with my voice instead. And here's my option for questions. So let's say I want to add a question at this point in the video, and I hit pause. And I hit, let's add a multiple choice question. It's going to put it right where that dot was. And then I can type in my question. If that is the correct answer, of course, I will have it be the green check mark. And then you give them the other options of incorrect choices. So the other part about this is it grades itself, which is fantastic. Once I have it finished, I'm going to assign it as a teacher. And then I can pull in from Google Classroom classes I already have. So I would say add new class, and I could pull in from Google Classroom, or I can select classes already I have. And then from here, I can change the dates and the due date. What's great about this is I want to make sure my kids watch the whole video. So I can turn on prevent skipping, and I can turn on closed caption for kids that may need that accessibility option. And then when I'm ready, I can say assign. And I can assign it to certain students too. And then I can see all of the people that I would have in here, and it should show up. Now, the students see something like this. So they see their classes that they're in, They would all be listed here, or they can join by a join code. And then they can see that I assigned this Silk Road video for them to watch. And when is it due? And then I have some videos in here that I didn't finish, and they have a certain due date that I need to do. So the kids go through and do their video questions and submit. And then as the teacher, you will get this option here where you can see now who has watched the videos, who's turned in their activity and finished it, and you see a grade for that as well. So they color code it if they need more help, if they're doing good, or if they are excellent. So it's a red, yellow, green color code. Feel a student may need to rewatch again, you can reset it so they're able to do the assignment again. So great way that you can work with kids and have them doing activities live or assigned. And you can see here, I could say go live. And if we were connecting through Zoom or something like that, we totally could connect and do it that way. So just some really neat ways to have kids watching and interacting with video. All right, the next one we're looking at is called Pear Deck. And Pear Deck is a great resource that takes Google Slides and it makes it an interactive lesson with your students. And I put that you could do it live. So once again, like I was just saying with Edpuzzle, you could be running a Zoom or a virtual type of classroom hangout with your kids. They're going to go to joinpd.com and you're going to give them a certain code to join. So you can see in this video here, it's playing through some of those steps. That's if I want my students to join my live lesson. But what's great about Pear Deck is during this time of remote learning, you can also assign a student paced mode. And that can be great for those parents that might still be working and kids are trying to work through things on their own. They can pick their choice of when they're doing this and when they complete it. So I'm going to take a look here at the student paced, and I'm going to click on this one as an example. The great thing about the student paced is, let's say they get 3 slides done and then they have to go do something. The next time they would click to go back into that link, it will remember where they left off. So this one that I'm going to go into right now remembered that I was on slide 5 of 16, and you can see my work I already started and completed, but I know I need to finish this. So I could continue to go through. Pear Deck lets kids draw. They can type in numbers, they can move things around. So there's a lot of awesome features that can be with this. So these are drawing slides. My students can write in the letter there. They can answer questions. So there's things here, type 2 sentences using these words. So they would type those in over there. But it's giving those students that time that they can do this at their own pace, while also giving the teacher and educator the information they need to see what direction do we need to go to next. So let's going to actually show you how to do this. So let's say there's some templates here. So if you're a math teacher, you can check out some of their math activities. If you are a younger elementary teacher, they have templates just made for littles. If you have a Google slide already set up that you do for lessons, you can take your Google slide. You're going to go to add-ons and get the add-on, which is called Pear Deck. And once you add that Pear Deck for Google Slides, you're going to say open Pear Deck add-on. And then it will pop up over here on the right side your Pear Deck toolbar that you're going to need. Right now, these are already set up. So any slide that I want students to interact with will have this little pear at the bottom and tell me kind of what they're going to do. So for this one, they're going to drag an icon. For this one, they're going to do a multiple choice, choose an option. And if I wanted to change some of those things, down here are some of the choices I have to assign to that slide for them. When I'm ready to run the lesson, then I'm going to say present lesson. So if I was doing this live with my students, I could click give students a link and share that with them through whatever method is I'm using with my school right now. Or I could just direct them and say, go to joinpd.com, share my screen like I am right now with all of you. And you actually could join in on this, and you put in the code NGZLE. And then once students start to join, you'll see down here how many are starting to be connected, right? And then With the teacher, the live mode, when I switch to go to the next slide, their screens change automatically. They can't go at their own pace. The nice thing is when you're doing a live lesson that as we're answering questions, I can say show response and see immediately what the responses are. If we go to another slide and it's asking them if they agree or disagree, they move their dot. And then instead of having them continue moving their dot, I can say, okay, time's up. I can lock their screens. So that way we can talk about it and move on to the next slide then. So those are some great live features that you can do when you're running a live lesson. Well, what if you can't do a live lesson, right? So I did the same thing. I'm in my Pear Deck. But over here on the right, there's 3 dots. And I'm going to say, turn on student paced mode because I know my kids might not be able to join me live. Down here at the bottom is a link. And I'm going to highlight that link and I'm going to copy it. And that's the link I'm going to share with my students so that way they can access that slide deck at any time when they can work on it, Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday, whatever it is, so they can complete the activity that was given from their teacher. So lots of great ways to do that. Also has built-in flashcard and vocabulary activities. And if you are looking to access some of their premium features, you can click that link as well today. So what does Flashcard Factory look like? So here I can set up a vocabulary list. So if I'm doing 3D shapes, I put in the terms. So cube has 6 sides shaped like squares. I put in that information, and then from there, I'll add my other term. I'll say play Flashcard Factory. And when I'm ready to do Flashcard Factory, I'm going to bring up one that I had done previously so you can see what it looks like. Students will get a join link. This one they do have to join live in order to play. And let me just go back to here and see if I can do it. All right, it's going to take a little bit of time to load. So I'm going to hop back over here so you can see. So once you're ready, they'll hit Play Flashcard Factory. From there, students join with a code like they would for a normal Pear Deck lesson. And then from that point, they will start to see the terms come up. And here you can see in the video it's happening. And then when they put those terms in, they would have to give their own drawing and own definition of what a cube is or what a sphere is. And then it starts to drop into this quality control area. And then as a group, as a class together virtually, you can decide, okay, is this answer right about a cube? And you stamp it for approval. And then the cool thing is, once you're all done approving those terms, you can share it out to GimKit. And if you've not heard of GimKit, it is a fabulous tool, game-based, gets kids excited about learning. It will take their vocabulary terms and put it into a practice GimKit game. So I highly encourage you to check those out and see how they work with your kids. I'm sure they will love it. All right, the very last one we're going to look at today is called Seesaw. So Seesaw is a tool that I think of as kind of like Google Classroom or Teams, Microsoft Teams, where your students are able to add things to an individual portfolio. There's a blog option on here. There's a communication tool that you can have with parents and students. And then they have their own personal journal or activities that they can do. So just in a real quick nutshell, what Seesaw looks like, there's a getting started guide here for you. So you can access and get started with setting up an account. Once again, it is free. This is what Seesaw will look like for your students. So name up here and over here, and then they see all of these things and they see their students and friends from their class. So that's what they call as the student portfolio. And then here in the middle is a stream. So these are all the things that have been submitted. And of course, you can moderate those things that pop up there. So if they take a picture of something at home and share it to you, it won't show up on the stream unless you allow that. So that's a moderation feature. But it's very easy for them to get started. So once you set up your class, you're going to go into here and you'll see that now for Seesaw, they have home learning codes. And these are different than the ones they were using in the classroom. So it's either a QR code or a text-based code. And from there, they're going to say, I'm a student, either scan their code or do the text code. And then they have the option, maybe they want to share something with their teacher of the class. So they're going to hit the plus sign. And when they hit that plus sign, they have the option to add photos, drawing, videos, upload something from their device, add a note, add a link. Teachers have this option as well, that you can add any of these things. You want to add a good morning message to your students, you can add a video. If you want to record a video of you reading to your kids, you can do that as well. So those are some of the awesome ways that they could do that. And then once you create it and the students create it, they'll hit a green check mark to add it to their portfolio and add it to the stream. What do the tools look like that are there, of course? So the tools, once they're in an activity or want to do a drawing, you'll see that they have all their drawing tools, but they also have these options to take a picture, record their voice, which is so meaningful during this time of engagement, of letting them share their voice and share what they're learning about, what's taking place at home. And then after they're done, they can hit their check mark. Where do you find things that are already created? Well, you can go into here and you're going to say assign an activity as a teacher. The community of resources from Seesaw is fabulous. There's already made activities. You can duplicate and edit them and use them for you. Pick what grade level you are at. So you can see it goes K to 12 and actually pre-K to 12. And it's such a great way to get kids learning. These numbers are other resources that you can add as well. So awesome features. The other feature I want to show you quick before we wrap up today is the communication tool. So you have an inbox that you can communicate back and forth with students and families. And then also if you turn on your student blog area, you can have a blog going where kids can communicate responses to different questions as well through that aspect. So lots of great ways, lots of good ideas of tools that are out there for your students, just trying to narrow it down to some that are easy, fairly easy to get going on. So my advice to all of you is don't try to do everything, keep it simple, keep it things that you're already doing with your students in the classroom. You choose, empower your kids' voice and choice, help them feel comfortable through this whole process. So you pick what you want to do. Okay, once again, the link for this presentation is shown here. If you have any other questions or feedback, feel free to click on this link or connect with me on Twitter or through email, and I am very happy to help out any way that I can. So thanks for joining us today.
Great, Christine. What a great presentation. Thank you very much for doing that. And I think it looks like there is one question.
Okay.
Do students need to sign up in Flipgrid in order to access the Flipgrid?
That's a great question. So for Flipgrid, you can, when you set up your grid or topic, you can make it so they do not have to use a Google sign-in or any type of sign-in. So it could be public. That means they could just click the plus sign and be ready to record their video.
Great. Okay. Well, hopefully we answered this question as well. And if there are any other questions, you can write them in the chat. And if you do have questions, but you haven't been attending the event live, so please connect with Christine via Twitter or any other social media that she's provided. And I'm sure she will be glad to answer all your questions.
Absolutely.
So, Christine, thank you very much. And I know that Nancy is with us today as well, and she's waiting to be turned on. So,
thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Hi, Nancy. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Great. So I will give you a word to just give a brief self-introduction, okay, and also just briefly talk about the topic that you will be talking today about, and then go ahead and start your workshop. So if there are any questions, we'll do them at the end, and I'll be here with you in case you need me, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Great.
So hi, everyone. My name is Nancy Penchev. I am coming to you from Miami, Florida. I'm looking outside. It's a beautiful day outside, and of course, I can't go out there to enjoy it quite so much. But hey, so I teach at Samuel Sheck School in North Miami Beach, Florida. My ears are crooked today. I'll just take those off. So one of the things I do every time that I teach a class of students online is I have something on my head because that makes it more fun. And they're always looking to see what is it doing today. I always try my best to make class as interesting as possible for my kids because I know that we're all in a whole world of boredom right now. So that's just something to think about, something fun to add in every day for them to look at. So I keep
Nancy, sorry about interrupting. It looks like we have some kind of issue with the sound. Could you just say something again?
Let's see.
Oh, it's better now.
Now? Okay. All right. Yeah. I just turned it up a little. Is that good?
Yeah. Okay. Good,
okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. No problem. So again, my name is Penchev. I teach kindergarten, 5th grade in North Miami Beach, Florida. And so I'm also the instructional technology coordinator. And one of the things that we have struggled with, this is our week 2 of learning, is we found out on Thursday that Friday was our last day of school. And we were going to be moving to an online learning platform. And for most of our teachers, we have ECE through 12th grade. And for most of our teachers, they had never taught online, had very little online experience. So we needed a way to quickly get them on and going. So I personally have a degree in, I have a master's degree in instructional technology, and I have a ed specialist degree in instructional technology and distance learning. And I thought, oh, this is something I know I can do. I can help with this. So I started gathering resources, and I'm going to share some of those with you today. I gathered resources for my teachers specific to my school. And then I started gathering just everything in the world that I could find that they might need. And I made some things too. One of the things I find easier to do instead of reading directions is watching a video of how to do something. So I started making Screencastify videos. Screencastify, you can have a free version. And of course, right now they have a paid version that they've made free for teachers around the world. Screencastify is wonderful because it saves directly into your Google Drive. So it's easy to then share out a link straight from your Google Drive for the directions on how to do something. You can teach your classes through that as well, but I do it especially to make how-to videos for our teachers. And then we realize too, you know what, our families might not know. Our students might not know what it looks like. So then I made some for students as well. And I started putting that all together in one Google folder that I separated the two, one for families and one for teachers. And I shared that Google folder, and then we keep adding to it as we go. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Let's see. Here is you know what? I forgot to click share. Hold on. Let me share my screen with you. That's probably going to make it easier. Okay. So here we go. So I created the Google.
We lost Nancy for a moment. We'll be back. To come back, if you do looks like the problem hasn't been solved. Apologize for that. I have to finish the workshop for today.